kan Coco Ozone Spa and Resort. Ñinan beŋotum a ambiance o ana kidimandiro sembo warta bakel katun ko jalingara fula walla santaño bayri mandinkol ko kunsan kunna asi kun wati bar kunsan berela waka kuŋotele touch yusundu wonin jaliba kuyate woli mabeta dawdandi aka minkolo ko nin kunkuntuta ñaadi mon ka kumfaale tabulol be wafula la je wonin ticket sol fanan pour individual. Heroes Awards. This event is supported by Gambia Limited.
mbokk yi Ministry of Health ñooy fas yéene sumba seen ñaareeli campagne pour nag péngu xale yi war a toll juróomi at jëm suuf pour aar leen ci feebari lafañ tubaab yi di ko wooyee polio. campagne bi nag dina tàmbale fukk ak juróom-ñeenti fan jàpp ñaar fukki fan ak ñaar si weeri mars ati 2022. campagne bu njëkk bi bu leen fàtte ne ñu ngi ko sumboon si ñaar fukki fan jàpp ñaar fukki fan ak ñett si weeri novembre ati 2021. bu dee yaa ngi yor xale wala toll si juróomi at jëm suuf fexeel nag mu jot si péngu bi pour aar ko ci feebari lafañ bi tubaab yi di ko wooyee polio. jàppale ne feebari lafañ bii di polio dafa gaaw a wàlle te nag ci waxtu yu néew mun naa laagaloo xale bi pour aar xale yi eewoo ci Gambia suñ péngukat yi dinañ ak si seen kër yi school si daycare center si béréb bi nit ñi dajee pour fexe nag jox xale yi bi la péngu bi nag ab toxal la bu ñoo toxal si gémmiñ xale bi na leen leer ne toxal bi ñuy péngu xale bi dafa óor te it mun naa aar xale bi ci feebar bii di polio di feebari lafañ moo tax Ministry of Health ñu ngi sàkku si waajur yi ak ñi yore xale yi school administrators yi alkaalo yi chef yi di community leaders yi njiiti diine yi ak ñeneen ñi nga xam ne am nañ si wàll pour nag ñu dimbal leen ndax nag ñu péngu xale yi war a toll juróomi at jàpp suuf pour aar leen ci feebari lafañ bi tubaab bi di ko wooyee polio. pour am si lu la gën a leer mun ngaa kool 1025 te doo ci fay dara.
Ministry of Health woni ndesdaɓe kulle cellal ngal ɓe puɗɗoto noon campagne vaccination polio woni ñakkuji pour sukaɓe keɓɓe duuɓi joyi yeehi ha lees o campagne on fuɗɗoto balɗe 19 yaha ha balɗe 22 he lewru maaji minen on ciftina noon campagne iɗo o noon ɓeɗum nanguno balɗe 20 ha balɗe 23 he lewru novembre nde hitande nde kolluɗen caggal woni 2021 saɗa jogi suka keɓɗo duuɓi joyi ha he mbo suwa heɓ ɗum ɗon naɓɗum o ñakkoyo he ki lekki ndako o wawa dat he o ñawu polio o ñawu polio noon ko ñawu mbebɗo rab te ko sukaɓe ɓe keɓɓe duuɓi joyi yeehi less ɗum ɓuuri yawo nde wondode so nanguiɓe tan he waktuji seeɗa tan na wawi tak ha jomum waɗa paralysé pour noon danda sukaɓe ɓe he nder leydi Gambia ɓe dañat noon doctorat ɓe ganduɗa ɓe tawa ɗon he galleji mon he ha he sukaɓe ɗo ɓe jangguirta woni school aji he daycare center seji he e goɗɗi place uji ɗi sukaɓe ɓe gonta pour ɓe mbawa weeɗe he ki lekki noon koko toɓɓete tan he hunduko suka o lekki ki holni ki laaɓi te ki dandat sukaɓe he o ñawu polio. Ministry of Health noon ɓe mbajo noon onon jinnaɓe ɓe toppittoɓe sukaɓe ɓe desdaɓe e school aji ɗi hilifaɓe cee walla kala leegal mbo ɗum wawi won gardiɓe he kulle diine mballon ɓe nangiranon ɓe ndako suka kala wawa hebde he ki lekki woni o polio vaccine kala hen jiɗɗo heb ko laaɓi nodduɓe he 1025 ta yoɓata hen haydara so en denti enen foof ɗen mbawi riw o polio funta he nder leydi Gambia o kabaru noon ko Ministry of Health WHO UNICEF e Gavi addani on ɗum.
Live from Banjul, this is JRTS News at 2000 hours, coming to you from the Gambia Radio and Television Services. In the headlines, the Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Touré, on Thursday received an audience officials of the Gambia Committee on Traditional Harmful Practices, GAMCOTRAP, and stakeholders in migration management at her office in Banjul. Officials of the National Disaster Management Agency, accompanied by the Governor of West Coast Region, as well as the Chairman of the Birkama Area Council, visit internally displaced persons in the Fonis. A 3-day workshop on the adoption of the ECOWAS approved minimum energy performance standards and performance labeling schemes is underway at the local hotel in Bijilo. And away from home, despite its strategic geopolitical location and a vibrant, diverse population, the Horn of Africa still faces diverse obstacles hampering its development. And rescue workers searches for survivors in the rumble of a theater in the besieged city of Mariupol on Thursday after a powerful Russian airstrike. These and much more coming ahead in this half hour with me, Rohibite. Do stay. We begin with the Vice Presidency as the Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Touré, on Thursday received an audience officials of the Gambia Committee on Traditional Harmful Practices, GAMCOTRAP, at her office in Banjul. The delegation, comprising GAMCOTRAP girls and boys for change, ambassadors were at State House to pay gratitude to Her Excellency for her continued support to right advocacy in another development. Stakeholders in migration management also met the Vice President at her office at State House. Usman Mane has the rest of that story.
I am a tender girl, but not able. Give me a chance to prove myself.
A new breed of rights advocates has joined the crusade to end harmful traditional practices against women and girls. Messages of condemnation calling for action to safeguard the fundamental freedoms of women and girls once again reminded the Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Touré, of her heydays of activism. GAMCOTRAP's Girls and Boys for Change Ambassadors, an initiative introduced by the organization, aims to serve as the next generation of advocates in the country, a move described by the Vice President as fulfillment of promoting the welfare of women and girls by catching them young.
I am very pleasantly surprised, and I want to express my appreciation for that. I want to say that our dream and aspirations when we founded GAMCOTRAP in 1984 has come to fruition. Fruition to the sense that we wanted to create an organization that was going to bring the voice of the voiceless, the voices of women and young children, young girls, boys, to be able to help them amplify their issues and make sure that we respect their human rights. And today, I am very happy, sitting on my 67th birthday today.
It was a joyous moment for Her Excellency as she observes her 67th birthday, witnessed by two board members in Amibojan Sisoho and Babali, whose efforts over the years was recognized by the Executive Director of GAMCOTRAP, Princess A. Munahot.
GAMCOTRAP has been gaining momentum right across the country, where we continue to build the capacity of young girls and boys. Over the years, we have been invited to different stages to lead discussions related to women's rights issues. We are at the forefront of grassroots activism and social mobilization through training and sensitization activities to raise consciousness of men and women on the effects of FGM on the reproductive health rights of women and girl child in the Gambia.
Madam Munahot further assured the Vice President and board members of consolidating the gains registered by the founding members of the organization. The initiative of grooming young children was initiated in 2021 by GAMCOTRAP, which they believe would inform the understanding of young children against harmful traditional practices and gender-based violence. Fatima John is the president of Girls and Boys for Change.
Her Excellency, Dr. Aissatou Touré and her team managed to reach the remotest regions of the country, educating them about the harmful effect of FGM and effectiveness of women participation in decision making. The movement received major support from within and outside the country, forcing the then President Alhaji Yahya Jammeh to ban the practice across the Gambia in 2015.
The event was graced by presentation of certificates of appreciation to the Vice President and board members as well as staff of the organization. Meanwhile, stakeholders in migration management comprising the Ministries of Foreign Affairs and the Interior, Gambia Immigration Department, among others, also met the Vice President behind closed door. The outcomes are expected to improve migration management in the country. Usman Mane, GRTS.
Following the clashes between the Senegalese soldiers and the separatists of the southern region of Senegal, residents at the Gambia-Casamas border flee their homes amid sounds of gunshots and stray bullets. The displaced persons are sheltered by relatives and village heads within the Fonis and beyond. GRTS Fatou Diba accompanied the NDMA team together with the governor of West Coast Region, Lamin Sane, as well as the chairman of the Birkama Area Council to assess the situation in the area. More in this report.
In the West Coast region, along the Gambia-Senegal border, dozens of people have fled to villages across the Fonis in the weak clashes between Senegalese forces and the separatist fighters of the MFDC. The displaced villagers report hearing heavy gunfire, putting them in a state of fear and panic, forcing them to seek safety, leaving behind their livelihoods.
Suto akumaseta kabirin tilibulo bari suto la sembosoto kidol niye keso fai kesoka jolo na
I got to this place barefoot with my children. I didn't have the time to even change into something better. I had to rush out for our safety late at night.
I've
seen so many vulnerable children. I've seen children not going to school. I've seen schools being closed. I've seen people without food. And even where they have food, it's not a sufficient food, it's not a balanced diet, it's not nutritional. And I've seen younger children, lactating mothers, eating the same diet with the elderly.
In Batabutu Delong, majority of the victims fled from Tambakunda and Siwol. Many of them are farmers and peasants, abandoning their fields.
We are desperate at the moment. The firing they are doing, all the cells are falling in our compounds, which killed some of our cows. I want to tell the government representative that if they can advise the people firing to stop, because we are totally scared. Our cashew farms, which is our source of living, is all destroyed.
There have been no reports of spillover of the fighting into the Gambia. However, women and children are feeling the brunt of instability along the border region.
Why we came up with these 500 cartons of assorted food, clothing, some shoe. We also got the support of the MA, that is the intervention for NDMA. So we also got support from MA Foundation, who also came up with some clothing to give to some of the IDPs.
Providing assistance to these victims, in Foni Kabang, trucks loaded with clothing and food items, an intervention made by the National Disaster Management Agency through the government of the Gambia.
The champion of negotiators within the sub-region here, and they are doing a lot to make sure that there's peace talk, there's dialogue, and so that this can stop, because that's the only way. In war, there's no winner, because normally economy is lost, lives are lost, hopes are lost, many things are lost. So there's no winner in war. So the best thing to do is to negotiate. The best thing to do that is to mediate, and exactly this is what our president is doing through the vice president's office. So we must have to come together as one people, and also by extension, even ECOWAS have to come together to make sure that there is this peace dialogue within these two communities, so that this can stop right now, because it's a body on the sub-region.
Many villages in the Gambia are close to the Casamas region, and people living on either side of the border are likely to be affected by the recent surge in violence in the area. Fatou Diba for GRTS News.
A 3-day seminar on the adoption of the ECOWAS-approved minimum energy performance standards and performance labeling schemes at the national level is underway at a local hotel in Bijilo. The forum, organized by the Gambia Standards Bureau in collaboration with ECOWAS, is aimed at adapting energy efficiency and performance labeling schemes in the ECOWAS region. Khadijat Juara reports.
Speaking at the opening ceremony, the senior officer, Gambia Standard Bureau, Amadou G. Jallo, underscored the importance of the workshop, noting that it will enhance the understanding of the energy efficiency in all ECOWAS region.
I would like to extend our gratitude and our thanks to ECRI. Just that the ED being here shows you how important this meeting is and how much they value this, actually the partnership that they have between the Gambia and ECRI. So we would like to extend our gratitude for gracing this occasion and making sure that this is a success.
The President, National Electro-Technical Committee, Abdullah Baz, and the Executive Director, ECRI, Ba F.M. Saho, both hailed the timeliness of the 3 days workshop in advancing energy efficiency in the ECOWAS region.
We have a duty. We are the privileged few to sit and look at these standards that will be governing what we bring in or use in this country. And therefore, while we will probably, and I will use this speech to call on all responsible stakeholders, government, PURA, and everybody, to start thinking about when these things are ratified, when these things are adopted, how we police them.
This workshop is coming at an opportune moment, not only to evaluate the progress made so far in the implementation of the project, but also to identify the major challenges and the opportunities ahead of the program. It is therefore necessary at this juncture or this stage to refresh our minds on the efforts of the ECOWAS Commission through ECRI to bring sustainable energy services to the citizens of the region. Allow me to indicate that since its establishment, ECRI identified barriers to the promotion of renewable energy and energy efficiency in the region, and one of the main barriers is the absence of or the lack of adequate policy instruments, especially at regional level.
UNIDO National Project Coordinator Khadija Jallo said the workshop will adequately promote the adaptation of ECOWAS energy efficiency whilst complementing governments and partners' continuous efforts and support for energy efficiency.
The outcome is the increased national capacity to uptake energy efficient appliances and clean cooking stoves in compliance with quality standards. So therefore, the objective of today's meeting and tomorrow, which is the adoption of the approved minimum energy performance standard at the national level, from the ECOWAS standards that is already established. We are hoping that under this committee, the National Electronical Committee, we will be having a successful outcome.
In a similar engagement, ECRI, in collaboration with UNIDO, JEF project on Thursday, trained officials from various ministries in raising their awareness on component 4 of the project. The project aimed at establishing a testing laboratory for EE lighting solutions for the Gambia to achieve sustainable, efficient energy. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Khadija Tujuara.
The Chinese ambassador to the Gambia, His Excellency Ma Jianxun, on Thursday briefed the media on the annual preliminary meeting of the National People's Congress and the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference at the embassy's office in Bijilo. Khadijat Jallo Rada attended the briefing and see now reports.
The Chinese ambassador to the Gambia outlines the outcomes of the annual 2 sessions meeting, which brings together officials of China's Politburo together for deliberations on the country's future. His Excellency Ma Junxin highlighted China's achievements during the first centenary with ambitious goals, building a moderately prosperous society.
The past year, the year 2021, witnessed the grand centenary celebration of the Communist Party of China. China's victory in the critical battle against poverty, and China's achieving first centenary goal of building a moderately prosperous society in all respects. China's 14th five-year plan also achieved a good start. China has begun a new journey toward its second centenary goal of building a modern socialist country in all respects.
China's technology and innovation capacity has been significantly strengthened in 2021, according to the top Chinese diplomat in the Gambia.
In 2021, China's technological innovation capacity was further strengthened. Major breakthroughs were made in manned space flight, resource exploration, energy projects, and other areas. Integration of digital economy in the real economy was accelerated. All these achievements were made under the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee with His Excellency Xi Jinping at its core.
The important annual 2 sessions also underscored achievements registered on promoting democracy, China's foreign policy, and international relations.
During the 2 sessions, China's State Councilor and the Foreign Minister Wang Yi answered questions from the media about China's foreign policy and external relations. He made it clear that as a responsible major country, China would continue to hold the banner of multilateralism, work with all peace-loving countries and the development-seeking countries to strengthen solidarity and cooperation, and continue to promote the building of a community with a shared future for mankind.
The ambassador's message also reiterated China's commitment under the leadership of President Xi Jinping to fulfill pledges made in promoting the UN Agenda 2030, as well as supporting peace and development across Africa. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Khadijatu Jallo.
The MRC Holland Foundation on Wednesday donated over 2,000 engineering books to the Gambia Technical Training Institute at a ceremony held at the school ground. The donation is meant to complement government's efforts in promoting education in the field of science, engineering, and technology. Baba Sila reports.
Holland Foundation has become synonymous with education development in the Gambia as the development support organization expands a major effort to ensure quality education through critical infrastructure. A well-timed donation reaches the Ministry of Higher Education, which is on the verge of transforming the Gambia Technical Training Institute to a modern university of science, engineering, and technology. The Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, Badra Diouf, who received the items, explained how the books will boost the trajectory taken by his ministry in transforming the country's first and longest technical and vocational institute into a modern university of science and technology.
Multitude of educations, education is forgotten. And that forgotten education is the science, engineering, and technology. Hence, the policy reset to recalibrate GTTI into the University of Advanced Applied Engineering, Science and Technology. We have started with 3 colleges. The College of Engineering, which comprise civil engineering, mechanical engineering, and electrical and electronics.
Founded in December 2011 with an ambitious aim to contribute to the development of a better world for vulnerable communities in developing countries, the MRC Holland Foundation continues to support critical advances in education and other sectors. The coordinator of the foundation, Henry Bruma Sonko, outlined the significance of the donated books, which he said will build a strong foundation for the country to enhance engineering and technology education.
Very interesting. The books we have seen here on display are very nice hardcover, brand new books. And I hope all of you will put them to good use so that the knowledge on engineering can be indigenized in the country, and the Gambia will stand very firm when it comes to engineering subjects.
Since its partnership with the government of the Gambia, the foundation has been moving to transform life through education, agriculture, and health. Baba Sila, GRTS.
Enhancing the country's healthcare system, the Japanese government provided over $4 million grant project to the batch diagnostic and laboratory clinical services. The gesture is meant to support the center to purchase more equipment in boosting health service delivery. Famara Baji has more in this report.
This giant stride is triggered by challenges faced by developing countries in the health sector, as the government of Japan renews its commitment to boosting the country's healthcare system.
Being aware of the difficulties faced by the Gambian populations to have access to affordable diagnostic, medical, and laboratory services, and showing great concern about improving their living conditions and promoting the human security, the government of Japan decided to finance this project in order to reinforce the capacity of batch diagnostic laboratory, J&E, and clinical services.
The signing of this grant amounting to over $4 million between batch diagnostic and laboratory clinic and the government of Japan is meant to help the clinic purchase state-of-the-art medical equipment.
I believe that this project will be an important step toward building resilient and sustainable health system in the Gambia, and will be a strong link between the Japanese and Gambian people.
Japan has been a partner with the Gambia government, and they have assisted many institutions, and today it includes batch diagnostic. It's been years we have been running, discussing, communicating between batch and the Japanese government. And eventually, we have come to the end of the tunnel, in which we'll be here today to provide one of the best diagnostic centers in the Gambia.
The multi-million-dollar project is aimed to create an improved medical environment and service to local people in the Gambia, especially the poor who can't afford to travel abroad for serious health issues. Famara Baji, GRTS News.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, with partners on Tuesday, organized a day-long capacity building training for the coaching staff and players of Dolphin Star Football Club at the Nana Conference Hall in Bakau. The forum seeks to enhance the capacity of the coaches and their players on the dangers of using illicit drugs. Yasin Jiba reports.
As part of their mandate in creating awareness on the dangers of using illicit drugs, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, with partners, deems it important to build the capacity of coaches and players who are a crucial part of the youth population on the dangers of using illicit drugs in the country.
We have programs of this nature to help people understand that our work is not only about arresting. Abating drugs and solving the world drug problem requires a balanced, integrated, multi-sectorial approach between supply suppression and drug demand reduction. This killer disease that rob people of their future. You see, the thing with addiction is, it's very jealous. The moment you get involved in drug, it now override and substitute all your activities.
The Director of Operations, Alaji Ibrahim Drame, spoke on the dangers of using illicit drugs. He noted that for people to recover from substance use disorder, there should be willingness, commitment, and determination by the youth to stop the use of illicit drugs.
Let me use this opportunity to call for the public support and collaboration in the crusade on drugs. We cannot do it all alone. On a daily basis, we receive series of requests from youth groups and community-based organizations for support and partnership. The agency, as a government-subvented institution, cannot support all these programs or all these groups. We therefore call on all other institutions, including the private sector, support programs and activities aimed at reducing the demand for illicit drugs.
He called on the people to collaborate with the agency to combat drug abuse in our communities. Mamadou Mbenga, President, Dolphin Staff Football Club, disclosed that one of their co-mandates is to engage youth on career development, such as training skills and professional courses, to strengthen the capacity of their coaches and players.
As an organized management body, we will continue to engage the young people and their families to make sure we achieve a collective success in bringing positive change in the society.
The Drug Law Enforcement Agency, in its quest to make the Gambia a free drug country, encourage youth to be committed, abstain, as well as withdraw from drug abuse. For the news, this is Yasin Jiba.
And now to a media dispatch from the Gambia Armed Forces, which reads, the Gambia Armed Forces wishes to inform all prospective candidates of the ongoing GAF recruit selection to report at the Gambia Armed Forces Training School in Fajara on Monday, 21st March 2022 at 7:30 a.m. for collection of their appointment letters. The Recruit Selection Board has the honor on behalf of the GAF High Command to wish all candidates a successful training. The release concludes. And we now take our first break, and we'll be back with more news from the international scene.
Fatoumata Bah Barrow, the First Lady of the Republic of the Gambia. She is one of the most powerful ladies who has come and worked so hard to make every Gambian woman proud. She is powerful, relatable, down-to-earth, humble, and successful.
There shouldn't be a month for women. Women should be celebrated every day. You give a woman, she takes back to her family. I'm more into health because I'm a believer in a healthy nation, a wealthy nation. You try, soon domi at least you have grade 12 because we want to break the poverty chain in this country or in any other country. Education more the way forward. What a woman does, she does it perfectly.
Tonight, we celebrate you as a woman of the year. Much more.
Modu came in to buy some bathroom floor tile, but once he laid eyes on our basins, he fell in love with a stunning basin and with a breathtaking faucet. With a brand new mirror too, at a bargaining price.
So, I got a bathtub too.
Oh yes, he picked up a bathtub too.
It's Batty Days time at Batty Mats. Enjoy exceptional discounts up to 70% on all our product families. From March 5th to 19th, you're going to splurge. Batty Mats, everything for construction, from foundation to finishing.
Welcome back, and now to the international scene. Despite its strategic geopolitical location and a vibrant, diverse population, the Horn of Africa still faces diverse obstacles that has hampered its development. Food insecurity and political instability remains major obstacles for countries in the region. China is keen to see conflicts and other problems in the region resolved and has named Su Bing as its special envoy for the Horn of Africa.
Many years, the Horn of Africa has experienced a series of devastating famines due to drought. Politically, The Horn of Africa is no stranger to conflict at all levels. Key security challenges have confronted the region for many years, from threats of human and arms trafficking to piracy, radicalization and terrorism. The activities of the Al-Shabaab militants in Somalia and efforts by terror group ISIL to expand its foothold in the region remain a threat.
It is because of all these issues that we find that the Horn of Africa becomes an important region for any global player.
The situation has been further heightened by the growing refugee crisis. Environmental challenges arising from climate change have only worsened poverty in the Horn. Analysts say enhancing and sustaining security in the Horn of Africa requires a collective approach. International relations experts are of the view that concerted effort must be made across the region to address human security concerns and to invest and uplift livelihoods, in particular the underlying causes of radicalization and violent extremism, which they say must be confronted and surmounted. The COVID-19 pandemic has also complicated the region's path to peace, development and good governance. But there seems to be hope on the horizon, as China has appointed Xu Yibing as its new special envoy for the Horn of Africa. China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi, during his visit to Kenya, made it clear that China was keen to play a key role in diplomacy in the Horn of Africa.
China is coming to the Horn differently, if you may like, with the other major players. China's history with Africa is different. And so China, as we speak today, many governments in Africa and many leaders, including the Horn of Africa, are finding China, if you may like, a better player in terms of helping them to spur economic development.
But as efforts to address security, development and governance challenges continue, experts say the future of the Horn of Africa not only lies inland, but also within its territorial waters and oceans. Daniel Arab Moi, CGTN, Nairobi, Kenya.
As the cost of liquefied petroleum gas continues to rise in Kenya, some have turned to biogas for lighting, cooking and water heating, among other needs. CGTN's Wilkester Nyamba reports.
A little flick of the wrist brings the flame to life. It burns clean, leaving no trace of soot. For the last 5 years or so, Wami and his household have used a combination of other cooking fuels with biogas generated right in their garden in Nairobi. It all began when Wami began to look for affordable energy sources.
Mostly in Africa, we usually use firewood, we use charcoal, we use gas, we use paraffin. So I was trying to look for an alternative source of gas, source of energy without having to pay bills.
His search led him to biogas.
Most people believe that all those people who have biogas have cows. And in the urban setting, it is a bit tricky to have the cattle. But you can use quite a number of materials. Like now, I know there are people who are rearing dogs. Maybe you have quite a number of dogs. You have the waste. You can still have a smaller unit that you can use to dispose of the dog waste. It will still generate energy for you. It will still generate biogas for you.
He feeds the little contraption with all manner of biodegradable waste. The resultant gas is piped to a cooker in his kitchen.
I do install biogas.
Charles Gikaria installed the biodigester. He's been in the business since 2006, when there was little information about alternative energy sources. But now he travels across the country, installing systems of various sizes according to household needs. His client today has several cows that produce kilograms of cow dung for the biodigester. The swelling of the biodigester means that the biogas has now formed and is ready for use. The number of hours it will last in a household depends on the number of people in that household and the kind of use that they put it to.
Once you feed it nicely, you get the amount of biogas that you want. To do the cooking, you can heat the housing, you can do literally everything. In fact, nowadays, you import so many biogas appliances from China. You have got rice cooker, you can run a generator,
This comes as the cost of liquefied petroleum gas, mostly used for cooking across the African continent, continues to rise. Russia's military operation in Ukraine has led to a rise in the landing cost of the gas, leading to an increase in cooking gas prices. In Kenya, one company announced that the cost of the 13-kilogram cylinder gas would shoot up from about $27 to about $30. In comparison,
rescue workers were searching for survivors in the rubble of a theater in the besieged city of Mariupol on Thursday, after Ukraine said a powerful Russian airstrike had hit the building where hundreds of people had been sheltering from the war.
Out of Mariupol at the moment, such as it is, does seem reasonably promising. The city authorities are saying that 24 hours after it happened, after what they've described as a very tough night of bombardment by the Russians of the city again, it does look like there are survivors in the air raid shelter beneath the theatre. They've managed to get through much of the rubble and people are coming out alive. It's not known precisely how many people were in there. Some are talking about hundreds, others of as many as 1,000. Many of them, if not most of them, women and children. But at the moment it seems that the structure of that shelter seems to have withstood the blast that hit the theatre, and people are being pulled out alive. It may be possible that everybody comes out alive. We just simply don't know at this stage. The Russians, though, continuing to deny that this took place at all. Maria Zakharova, the spokesperson for the Russian Foreign Ministry, said, "We don't bomb cities and towns, never." Well, I could say I've seen it with my own eyes. In Ukraine, Russia is bombing cities and towns. There's no question about it. And to try to blame this attack by the Russian forces on the Ukrainians themselves is about as cynical as you can possibly get. On death toll, but the news coming out of
And that does it for the news this hour. But before we take a leave of you, a recap of our top stories once again. The Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Toure, on Thursday received an audience officials of the Gambia Committee on Traditional Harmful Practices, GAMCOTRAP, and stakeholders in migration management at her office in Banjul. Officials of the National Disaster Management Agency, accompanied by the governor of the West Coast region, as well as the chairman of the Birkama Area Council, visited internally displaced persons in the Fonis. A 3-day workshop on the adoption of the ECOWAS-approved minimum energy performance standards and performance labeling schemes at national level is underway at a local hotel in Bijilo. Despite its strategic geopolitical location and a vibrant, diverse population, the Horn of Africa still faces diverse obstacles that have hampered its development. And rescue workers were searching for survivors in the rubble of a theater in the besieged city of Mariupol on Thursday after a powerful Russian airstrike. And that does it for the news this hour. Thank you for the pleasure of your company, and we'll be back again at 2200 hours for more news.